Hi guys, in this video I am going to explain the Pursuit of Happiness movie. It is told at the start of the movie about the life story of such a salesman who was much afflicted in his life. In spite of this, he struggles hard in his life. He does not feel exhaustion, and he gains something in his life after struggling hard. The same salesman is shown as the movie starts. His name was Chris, and he was selling a medical device to earn money. He drops his son at school as per routine, then he spends his whole day selling this medical device. Chris had a plan to sell at least one device in each month, but the hospital where he used to visit with this device, then hospital management used to say the same, we don't need it at all. Afterwards, Chris' wife is shown, who herself was a job holder. He asks his wife to pick his son up, but his wife forbids by saying as she is giving the double duty. Later, when they were dining together at night, Chris glimpses here a puzzle Rubik's Cube, which was new as before. His wife asks him, have you paid all taxes? But Chris tells his wife he has asked a little more time. Hearing this, his wife becomes so worried. He begins to solve the puzzle again when his wife goes for job, and he says it is a child's play. Next day, Chris again goes to sell his medical device taking this. Then he sees a businessman on the way sitting on his large car. Then he asks that businessman, what do you do for your living? That man replies to Chris, I am stockbroker. Chris says hearing this, more education is required for this. That man says it is not compulsory, but each human being should have belief on his hard working, and he should have specific skills. Chris was thinking this when he talked to that businessman. How happy the people in his surroundings are. When will he have such a day that he will also be happy? Next day, Chris tells his wife that he will come to home late because he had also applied for the stockbroker. She says, don't make fun, we have remained only 2 months to pay our house rent. Now Chris has to go to stockbroker office. He could not bring his scanner into the office, so he leaves his medical device to a lady present outside. Chris glimpses outside when he was applying for the job. Chris runs after that lady collecting his job application from the office, but that lady had left by a train. At the same day, Chris had also promised to his wife that he will sell this scanner today. Chris was upset on the coming day. He fills this job application, and he goes to submit his form in the office. He submits it there. After this, he catches the sight of the same lady as he comes outside, who had escaped, stealing his device. He hurriedly runs after her. He says to that lady, reaching to her, I have served all my savings on this device. And do you know the meaning of losing this? To lose the gross income of the month. He gifts a basketball on the birthday of his son. When Chris again goes to sell his device, then he encounters the dean of the office again, who tells him that I had submitted my application a month ago, but that dean had not much time. He says he has to go somewhere right now. Chris asks that man to extract some time for him because he wanted to discuss something with him. He tells, I have to go to the same place where you intend to go. Now they both leave riding on one cab. Now Chris was telling that man about his personality and the skills, but that man was engaged in solving the puzzle. That man says to Chris, take it and solve this puzzle, and Chris solves that puzzle before Dean gets off the cab. Seeing this, Dean is much inspired from Chris, but that man gets off the cab as it stops. It indicated that Chris had to pay the fare of the cab. Chris goes ahead and runs away after getting off the cab. He immediately rides on the train, but his one of the hands is left out of the train, that hand in which he caught his medical device. Chris calls his wife on the same day and apologizes her that he remained unable to reach at home on time, but his wife was in full rage because she had missed her duty time because of Chris. So his wife says to him, I am leaving with my son. Chris checks when he returns to home as there was neither his wife nor his son. At the same day, Chris receives a call by that dean. He says, write the number of my secretary so we may talk about the job. But Chris had no pen and paper at that time. He memorizes that contact number and moves to a nearby store. He takes a paper from there and writes that contact number there. At the same day, Chris encounters his wife on the way, who was so furious with Chris. She had come back dropping his son at school. She tells Chris, I am not satisfied with you. Why do you not understand? Hearing this, Chris keeps silence. He says, all right, but my son will live with me. Chris brings his son at his house at the same day. Meanwhile, his house owner comes to his house. To collect the rent of the house, Chris says to his house owner, "I request you to give more days to me. I will pay your rent." The house owner agrees and gives some more days to Chris. Next day it is seen that Chris was painting his house's walls. Someone knocks at his house door as he was painting. He sees opening the door that 2 police officers had come to arrest him. Because he had not paid his bill of parking, he pays the parking bill there, but one of the officers says there that it will be approved till tomorrow. In the meantime, he calls his wife so she may pick up his son from school. His wife agrees, and there was also Chris' interview on the same day. He runs to Dean instantly to appear in the interview, but what is this? He had worn those shabby dress. Because he had not much time, when Chris goes for interview in this appearance, then those people are so shocked. Then Chris tells that he was seized yesterday by police, so he has directly come here for interview from there. The head of that place does not impress more from Chris when it is interviewed, whereas Chris has made everyone laugh there. The head of this place hires him, but Chris replies, "I will tell you for this job after a thought," because this was an internship job with no pay, in which Chris will not pay at the beginning. But that Dean advises him, "Start this job now." Chris returns back to the home later. His son and wife had also come back to home. His wife tells him at the same night when his son falls asleep, she is leaving to New York because she has been hired as a waitress there. Chris agrees, saying, "My son will live with me." Chris's wife believed that he will take care of his son more than her, so she leaves that place while sobbing. Next day, Chris takes his son with him and moves to a hospital to sell his medical device. The people of hospital management also agrees to buy his medical device. They purchase it. Now Chris had got little consolation there, that he has earned some amount of money. Then Chris goes to learn his internship. Chris meets his head on the coming day. He converses with them while leaving. Then he discovers his medical device again there, which he had lost while running. He runs to catch that man to whom he had seen his medical device, but he is not able to capture that man. He is crashed with a car. Then he observes that one of his shoes had lost. Now he goes into the program without one shoe. In the next scene it is shown that Chris was performing his job properly, but there was not any type of improvement in his job. He contacts with his company's CEO and he finds him. Fortunately, his internship head talks to him, catching him as he goes to talk with CEO. He orders, "Park my car to another place." This is the reason that Chris does not talk with his CEO. At the same night, Chris says to his son, "My son, will you help me? We may go to watch the basketball match if you help me in my coming meeting." Next day, Chris goes to the house of CEO. CEO offers him a chance for it, so he gratifies him for this. CEO asks to carry Chris and his son with him, because Chris had told this as they are going to watch the basketball match. CEO talks with Chris during the game. He says, "I favor your offers. There is nothing that I will reject your offers." Now little peace had started to step in the life of Chris now. Chris' life was going on better to an extent. At the same day, some amount of money is deducted from the bank account of Chris. Due to the unpaid taxes, Chris is again worried because of this. Now he had left a little amount of money now. After this, Chris goes to collect money from one of his friends that he had lent to his friend a few days ago, but that friend deceives, saying, "I had already returned back your money." Saying this, he shuts the door. Now Chris had got his device. He immediately takes his device. He goes from one hospital to another taking his device, so it may be sold out in some way, and Chris may get some money after selling this device. Then Chris comes to know as that device has damaged. One hospital management is ready to buy this, but the doctors of that hospital say, "We will purchase this device at that time when it will be repaired." Now Chris was disturbed here. There were 2 problems when he goes to his home. This was as house owner of Chris had put his house material out of the house, because he had not paid his rent of the house. Chris tries to unlock his house, but it was also changed. No choice had left for Chris and his son. He reaches a station taking his son. His son had a device in his hand. He asks to his son, "My son, is this not a time machine? We will go to the world of dinosaur." Turning it on, Chris's son gets excited hearing this. Afterwards they spend the whole night in a lavatory. Chris begins to lament his life when his son had fallen asleep. Why does it happen with me as such? Chris moves to homeless shelter as morning arrives, but they are not accepted there because only women and children reside there. Then he goes to another homeless shelter, but he is also expelled from there. At last they get a room with the security. Then Chris repairs that device. Next day it is seen that Chris was again standing in the queue of homeless shelter. They dine there and Chris was preparing his exam, which he had to take in the meeting tomorrow. When Chris comes outside, he encounters his company's head and he asks some money from Chris to give to cab driver. Chris had a shortage of money. In spite of this, he gives the money to the head. Now Chris donates his blood to get a little amount of money, and he repairs that medical device with that money. Now Chris' son asks him in the homeless shelter at night, "My mother left us because of you." He says, "You need not to think about your mother anything." Chris' son says, "On this you are a best father." Now Chris had repaired his device successfully. He sells that device, through which he gets a lot of money. Chris shifts into a hotel with his son. After it they move to the seashore. In the next scene it is shown that the dean of that stockbroker company, he congratulates Chris as he had familiarized many consumers with his company. Next day Chris goes to his office. Seeing him, everyone appreciates him. "It is the final day of my internship, so I have worn this new shirt," the head of that place says to him while winking his eye. "Also come here tomorrow after wearing this shirt because you have got this job permanently." Chris holds his tear of excitement here. The head also returns that money back which he had paid the fare of cab, taking it from Chris. Chris comes outside and calls this stage of life happiness. Chris goes to his son and embraces him with full passion. It was seen that Chris faced many troubles in his life. In spite of this, he overcame all of them. In the end it is shown that Chris had achieved the deal of multi-million dollar, and the film story completes on this scene. Thank you.